The simplicity and elegance of the GTR method benefits not just the practitioner but also the client. GTR is client accessible in the sense that the clients can easily understand the instructions. They can grasp the main concepts and ideas with ease. Plus, and this is huge, they can take the healing protocols home with them. Once shown in the session, they can use these protocols on their own when they need them. For instance, when a distressing memory pops up and their session with you is booked for the next week, or when something comes up in their life and they need a little intervention to calm themselves down, they can enhance their healing process by doing GTR work in between sessions. And they can continue to use these protocols once their work with you is done and cultivate their well-being long-term.
To put this in a bit of a larger context, so in therapy, if you think back to Freud's time, Freud was the therapist for the well-off, the well-to-do. And so his office was furnished in a certain way, and his clients, they belonged to a certain category of people. And somehow this setup continued throughout most of therapy, in that therapy happens in the therapy room, and the therapist is in control in a certain way. So what I mean by that, this is oftentimes not questioned. The client comes to the therapy room or to a counselor or even a coach, but really they're going to the coach's place, to the therapist's place. They're not in their own territory. This is one of the great things, if you sometimes want to experiment with doing therapy outdoors, is that it's a much more neutral terrain. Nature doesn't belong to anyone. It's not your space, it's not their space, it's neutral territory. This is sometimes contradictory to the schools that think that there should be a little bit of a hierarchy between the therapist and the client. I don't think it's particularly useful, especially if we're trying to create an atmosphere of, number one, safety, but also ultimately empowerment. We are not trying just to help the client heal. We're trying to help them lead an empowered life, an empowered where they are in control, which is pretty much the opposite how most people feel as a result of trauma. There's this feeling of, being carried through life like a leaf in the wind. That's why we love seeing in clients when they so-called gain agency. It's this sense of they are the captains of their lives and they have a good degree of control as to where their lives are going. So this client accessible feature enhances that. It is a message to the client that, okay, your healing, it's not limited to the time we have together in this room, in this 1 hour or 1 hour and a half. It's as much in your hands as it's in mine. It's not just about my expertise. I'm more of a guide here because the tools are so simple that once we try them in the session, you can do things on your own.